Billericay Operatic Society are returning to Brentwood Theatre with a very different, quite gritty show in the not too distant future. And I'm joined today by Wayne Carpenter, who's going to be playing the lead role in the show, and also by Mark Clements, who is the chairman of Billericay Operatic Society. So, Wayne, first of all, why parade? It's not your standard Operatic Society fare, really, is it?
No, it isn't. We like as a society to do a mixture of different types of shows for the audience. So our last show was Fiddler on the Roof, which everyone will know, which is a big blockbuster type show. And so we decided to do something that was a little bit different. It's different both in its content, its style and its music. So, yeah, we like to make a change for our audiences, really.
Yeah, because I know a reasonable amount about musicals, and this is one that I've not heard of at all. I was thinking, parade, it's going to be jolly, maybe there'll be some hats, it'll be flag waving. And it's
there's
like,
lots of flag waving.
There's lots of flag, okay, but it's not really jolly. You're not going to have lots of dancing and cheerfulness.
No. It was written relatively recently as far as musicals were concerned. It was written by a composer called Jason Robert Brown, and it is quite a dark story. It's very unusual for a musical because it's actually a true story. So everything that the musical is about is based in fact. Some of the characters have been slightly changed. So that's very unusual. And it is a dark story. It has lots of different threads going through it, but it's the story of Leo Frank, who effectively was a superintendent of a factory in Atlanta in Georgia, and it's the story of what happens to him on one day in 1913, which radically changes his life.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to give any more away? Because I know there's an end. You don't want to give the ending away.
No,
because if you don't know the story, it's interesting.
Yeah, well, the day in question is actually the 26th of April, and there is a Confederate Memorial Day parade, and Leo is Jewish. He's from the north of America. The show is set in Atlanta in Georgia. And he decides to go to work because he's from the north and he doesn't want to celebrate this particular parade day. The rest of the town are out parading, celebrating the war, even though obviously the South lost. And effectively one of his workers comes into the factory to collect her pay, and the next day she is found murdered. And because Leo is the last person to see her alive, and because the fact he's Jewish, Leo gets accused of her murder. And that is the massive change that goes on in Leo's life.
Okay, now Mark, it's very much a family affair with Billericay Operatic Society. Your daughter is playing the girl who gets murdered.
Yes, she plays a character called Mary Phagan, but she's got some of the more uplifting numbers sort of early on, which is nice. But you know, there's some sort of flashbacks as well within the story, but. Yeah, real family affair at Billericay Operatic. I mean, Wayne's wife and son are both in it. My daughter, we've got the Johnson family, there's 3 of them, and the Wesson families, 3 of those. A couple of Southgates in there, a new musical
There's
director.
always a couple of Southgates.
Yeah, there is, yeah, we're lucky.
Yeah, but it's great actually, because you know, the age range is probably from sort of about 13 all the way into 60 plus, where we don't ask beyond 60. So
yeah. And for your daughter's 15, it's quite a tough role for a 15-year-old to play, and quite an unusual one for somebody that age to be given, if you like, in this sort of.
It is, but I mean, she's been in musical theatre from, you know, as long as we can remember. She's done a sort of Gold Lambda Award drama exam, so you know she's been doing it a while, and it's such a powerful part, and I think that's the beauty of this show. It's not a sort of jolly everybody singing and clapping along. It's really a gritty play that happens to be a musical.
Yeah, I call it drama with music.
Yes.
So it should really appeal to people that like to come and see just ordinary dramatic shows, and people that like to come and see musicals. And I think it's important to say that much as it is a dark subject matter, it isn't sort of graphic in what goes on. You know, you kind of hear about what's going on in passing. It's actually what happens to the characters that is the main part of the show. So it isn't quite as... It does actually have a very uplifting theme, because a lot of the show focuses on Leo and his wife, who have quite a strained relationship at the start of the show. And it's effectively a love story because it shows how they bond together, how they fight for each other, and that's a very big part of the show, and it's very uplifting, and it goes all the way through the show, and you see the relationship going from being very strained and quite difficult to actually Leo declaring his love, probably for the first time, to his wife in the whole of their relationship. At the end of the show, he effectively has the courage to say that he loves her, and she says she loves him back. So it does have some very nice moments.
It's kind of a Les Mis style.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of it's set to music, not so much dialogue going on.
Yeah.
And it's very fast paced. There aren't many breaks in the show. It's been very, very cleverly written. And effectively what happens is one scene merges into the next without actually you ever stopping. So for the audience, it should be very good visually, because you don't have to sort of wait for scene changes, or there's no great pausing to the show. It literally zips through the whole show, one scene to the next.
Yeah, and there are bits of it you can hear on YouTube, some of the songs, and I've listened to one, and it's very, very powerful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you mentioned before it was the old Red Hills of Home. It was like the finale number, very, very powerful.
Yeah.
I was welling up. Didn't even know the story at the time, and I was welling up. So I'm suspecting this is going to be a good packet of tissue show. It
is. I mean, the music is one of the reasons why we did it. It's probably the most challenging music that we as a society have ever done. I think it's probably the newest musical that we've ever done.
Technically very difficult.
Yeah, but we like to challenge ourselves, as well as presenting something different for the audience. We like to challenge ourselves as artists within what we do, and it's great music. If we get it right, it'll be really good.
Excellent. Well, best of luck with it, and that's coming to Brentwood Theatre. It's going to be something very new, very different. So get your ticket very soon.